Okay everybody, today we are going to learn how to start a common snowblower. First thing that we're going to do is make sure that it is ready to run. So, I'm going to check the fuel level first. And as you can see, there's fuel right up near to the top of the tank. You don't want to refuel the snowblower after it has been running for a while, because the hot engine parts over here constitute a fire hazard if you spill any gasoline pouring it into the tank. So it is best to have it fueled up and ready to go before you ever even start it. Now, if you run it out of gas while you're using it, you should let it sit and cool for about 10 minutes. It really probably won't take any longer than that because the weather is going to be cold outside, and then it will be safe to refuel it. Okay, we've checked the fuel. Now let's check the oil. Snowblower takes the same kind of oil that the car takes. Alright, and in this case we can see that it is right up to the full level. So we know that the engine is got plenty of oil. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to set the choke. The choke is this twist lever here, and twisted all the way to the left is off, twisted all the way to the right is fully on, and there are a couple of steps in between. When we start the snowblower, we are going to start it with it fully on, and then as soon as the engine begins to sputter and run, we immediately take it one click off. The engine will then start to run more smoothly. After the engine has run smoothly for 30 seconds to a minute, we'll take another click off and let the engine settle down and run smoothly again. And once it is running smoothly again, we can turn it fully off. But it needs to have a chance to warm up before it's fully off. Otherwise the engine will stall. Now the other thing on this type of snowblower, this is a Tecumseh engine, there is a throttle setting that should be fully up and on when we're using the snowblower to blow snow or when we're starting it. If we move the lever all the way to the very bottom and then there's a click detent here and then a little further, that will cause the engine to stop. Alright, so that's the shut-off switch for the engine. It's the throttle. Alright, since we're going to start the snowblower, we're going to have that all the way up. We're going to have the choke fully on, and then we're going to depress the primer 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now, at this point, you have a choice. This particular snowblower has an electric starter. Alright, it also has a rope starter. Now, I have had very good luck with this snowblower with the rope start. Typically, it will run on the first pull of the cord. But, if it's exceptionally cold outside, and this has happened to me, if it's like 10 degrees or below, it becomes very difficult to start this engine. So we have the electric starter. This is just a regular extension cord plugged into the wall someplace, and you'll notice that the little ground plug goes up, and we just push that right onto there like that, and then this button here will crank the engine. Now listen to what happens and watch. As the engine starts to run, I'm going to immediately click the choke off 1 notch. So here we go. Okay, I've taken the choke off 1 notch. Now we're going to wait about 30 seconds. While the engine is warming up, we can disconnect the power cord to the starter. And you'll hear that the engine is kind of sputtering a little bit. That's an indication that the choke is ready to come off 1 more notch. And you'll hear that the engine is smoothed back out. Now finally, I think that the engine is ready to run smoothly. So I'm going to take the choke off all the way. Alright, now what we have is the snowblower is ready to go. Now, there are two levers on the snowblower. The one that is on your right spins the auger. That's the thing that blows the snow. Okay, this guy down here. The one that's on your left, as you face the back of the snowblower, moves the snowblower. And you'll see that there are several gears here. Okay? If you're a newcomer to snowblowers, start out slow and work your way up. So start it out in first gear. And then if you squeeze this lever down towards the handle, the snowblower will begin to move forward. Watch. Nice and slow, easily controlled pace. Now it's actually capable of moving about 3 times that fast if you move that gear lever all the way over. But don't do it unless you know what you're doing. Now, it's a little bit more difficult for me to show you blowing snow because I don't have any right now. However, when you get snow, there's a couple of things that you need to consider. First of all, if the snow is real light powdery stuff and the wind is blowing and you blow the snow into the wind, guess what? You're going to get covered with snow and you're going to get extremely cold and it's very uncomfortable. So watch which way the wind is blowing and use this handle to direct the snowblower with the wind. And then squeeze down on this handle and the auger starts spinning up front, and where there's snow in front of us, we'd be blowing it right now. Okay, so the other thing to know about blowing snow is, and we can turn this down. The other thing to know about blowing snow is that you can adjust how far the snow thrower throws it by loosening this lever. And when it's all the way up like that, it will throw it the maximum distance that it's capable of, which is about 30 feet or so. Alright? About halfway is usually where I run it, unless I'm doing some very close work, in which case I have it all the way down. And then it just throws it pretty much right next to the snow thrower. So if you're doing a sidewalk or something like that and you just want to throw it onto the grass next to you, then that's probably the way to have it set. If you're in the middle of a wide driveway, however, like this one, then you're probably going to need to crank this thing up so that it can throw it from the middle of the driveway over to the side of the driveway. Alright? And what you need to do is just follow a pattern like you would in cutting grass. You just mow, or in this case, snowblow in strips, straight lines, and you try to work from the windward side so that you're always blowing with the wind. Alright, so in this case, if the wind is coming from this direction, then I would start over on this side of the driveway, do a strip, then do another strip, then do another strip, then do another strip, so that I could blow it with the wind over to this side of the driveway. Now sometimes Mother Nature plays with us and she puts the wind so that it's blowing straight at us. And we have a term for that. We say that that just plain sucks, and you have to get over it. So anyway, that is how you start the snowblower, and this is how you shut it off. You just push the throttle lever past this final detent all the way down. Watch. And then she's done. Now, typically what I do when the snowblower has been used, what happens is there's a powdering of snow that accumulates on it. And that snow will start to melt with the heat off the engine, which even right now is considerable. Alright, and it'll trickle down and then it'll start to freeze as ice. So what I do for that, just so that I'm sure that I can at least get the thing to start the next time, if the throttle and the choke are frozen in place by ice, I leave the throttle all the way up and I leave the choke all the way on. That way, if this becomes hard to turn for some reason because it's frozen up, I can get it to run the next time. So that's it.